Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Reverend Sylvester Hampton. Once again, welcome to my channel, One Man of God Unfiltered. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I thank you for allowing me to spend this time with you today. And I want to do an administrative thing. Hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button. Also hit the like bell, hit the bell. Also hit and subscribe, the button, the bell, and also share this channel with someone that needs to hear it. Okay, that's free. Doesn't cost you anything. I appreciate it very, very, very much. I also want to take this opportunity to thank you for being here with me. As you know, I am this channel is for men of God, and it's about men of God, and we this channel is for men, and I talk strictly to the men, and we share things with one another. And what I want to do is to dedicate this particular lesson to my father and fathers. This lesson is entitled Daddy's Pride. Daddy's Pride. One thing that I want to talk about is a father is the only person in the world that want his offsprings to be better than him. He is the one that want his children to always be better than him, especially his sons. And if I break down, I want to let you know that my father was a real good man, and he instilled a lot of things into me. And as I think back, a lot of things we don't appreciate while he was here, but we appreciate when he's gone, and we appreciate the legacy that he has instilled in us. And we don't realize that he's molding us, and he made us what we are today, and we don't realize it. A lot of times I see athletes on footballs, and at the end of when they're in championships, and the news reporters stick the mic up in their face and say talk to the athletes, and the first thing they say is, I want to thank my mama, I want to give my mama a house, and I want to do this, and I want to do this, and thank God for my mother's love, and it was because of her to do all this. That's a bunch of crap, because fathers don't get the just due that they deserve, because if it was not for the fathers, you wouldn't be where you are. Fathers made you, excuse me, fathers made you the way you are. If it was not for the fathers, you wouldn't have a lot of the things that are instilled in you to keep you going. We're going to get into that. I want to talk about my father. He was a man that, I'm a military brat. My father was in the Air Force. He was a career Air Force man, military man. He was a NCO, non-commissioned officer. That means that he rose to the rank of a technical sergeant, which was in the Air Force. And he retired after 23 years of military, and so the military way, as a military brat, you grow up in the military way, and he was a strict disciplinarian, and everything was decency and in order. I was the oldest of 4 boys, and so he expected a lot of me as being the oldest, and he instilled a lot of things in me and expected me to keep my brothers in line, to keep things in order while he was gone, because he was on a lot of trips. He flew on planes, and he was away a lot. So a lot of pressure was on me, and he instilled a lot of things on me that the other my brothers, my siblings, didn't have. So a lot of things that children want to, boys especially, they always want to make their fathers proud of them. And that's what they seek. They seek a lot of things to make their fathers proud. They want to be able to be able to hear those words, "Boy, I'm proud of you." That is the number one phrase that we live to hear our fathers say, because we want our fathers to be proud of us. No matter what, we want our fathers to be proud of us. We can do all the things where mama can say, "I love you," all she wants. But the number one thing that sons want is for their fathers to be proud of them, and their fathers to look at them through the twinkling of their eyes. And that's biblical, because we always seek God's favor. We want, just as Paul said, or Timothy, God says, "Come on, my faithful servant." We want God to say, and we want our fathers to say the same thing, because our fathers are in the image of God in our eyes. Don't forget that God made man in his image, Adam in his image. Adam means mankind. Remember, I told you that you as a father is in the image of God. When your children see you, they see the image of God. That's how deep it is. So naturally, when you want, as Timothy sought those words, "Go, come on in, my faithful servant," that is the pride that we seek for our Father, our earthly Father, our Father. We want our fathers to be proud of us. So that's what we live for. Mama can love us all she wants, but our Father, He's the only man on this earth that wants you to be better than him. The only one that wants you to be better than him. And he don't want you to be equal to him. He always wants you to be better than him. That's deep. The only one. The only man that wants his offsprings, his sons, to be better than him. So it takes on a different meaning when you see, when I say to you, I don't know, ask your daddy. Because your daddy's love is different from your mama's love. Your mother always wants you to be dependent on her. She always wants you to be dependent on her. She always wants the children to be weak. Fathers are different. They want you to be independent and better than them. They want to push you up and out. Mothers want to bring you in and want to cradle you. She never wants you to be independent of her. That's the reason why she raises weak children. That's the reason why her children are always going to jail. Because these children are weak. She's not a trainer. She's a nurturer. She will always raise weak children because her children are always going to be dependent on her. She don't want her children to be independent. The fathers want to bring you up and out and make you better than him. That's the difference. A major difference. That's the reason why the father is the true parent. That's the reason why if you go through your daddy, he is going to make you better. I told my father, I told you I was an Air Force brat, military brat. I told you I thought that my father would be proud that I wanted to be just like him. Every child wants to be like their daddy. Okay, every son wants to be like their daddy because he is their superhero that he grows up. Every son looks at their father as a superhero, and he wants to be just like their daddy. And I told my father, I want to be in the military just like you. And I thought because he was happy with hearing that. He said, "Oh no! You can come in the military, but you're going to be an officer." He always said that. He said, "You're going to be an officer. You're not going to come in the military like that. You're going to be an officer." So he kept instilling that in my head. You're going to be an officer. You're not going to come in the military just like that. You're going to be an officer. So that was the thing that my father instilled in me, that he wanted me to be better than him. Fathers always want their children to be better than them. So I said, okay, I researched what an officer was, and I knew being a military brat, an officer was a lieutenant or above and everything. He instilled in that. Okay. So my thing was that, then I said, okay, Dad, I'll be an officer. Okay. So my mindset was, okay, to be an officer, what do I have to be the officer? You got to go to college to be an officer. Hey, you got to get a college degree to be an officer. So I said, okay. So that was it. Little did I know, when I graduated from high school, that was every child, every son wants to make their father proud of him. I made my father proud when I got my high school diploma, when I graduated from high school, because my father got his high school equivalency. He never graduated out of high school. He got his GED when he went into the Air Force. He got his GED. He never walked across the stage with a high school diploma. He got his GED when he went in the Air Force. My mother dropped out of high school in the 10th grade. So when I graduated from high school, I became the highest educated person in my family. And that was a proud moment for my father and mother, because at that particular time, high school education, graduating, walking across the stage, getting my high school diploma with a cap and gown was the highest honor at that particular time in my family, between my mother and father, because they never ever had a high school graduate in their family before. I was the first. It didn't hit me. Okay. I went to South Carolina State with a football scholarship, partial scholarship. And immediately, my mindset, I knew that I wanted to go into the military. I did my research and everything. South Carolina State had one of the outstanding ROTC programs in the nation. South Carolina State turned out the number one source of black officers in the nation. So I said that I'm going to South Carolina State. And I had went there with a partial scholarship. Plus, I was originally born in Orangeburg, South Carolina. So I had relatives in Orangeburg, South Carolina. So I went to South Carolina State College. So, and it's historical and everything, and I went to South Carolina State College, relatives downtown, so I went there. Plus the fact every summer I went to South Carolina, Orangeburg, South Carolina, so it was an even fit. So I went there, got in, football player, and my father was proud. Went to South Carolina State. I enrolled in ROTC. My mindset that I was going to go into the military. That's it. My mindset, I was going to go into the military. I played football for fun. At that particular time, I knew that when I got on the college degree, when I got on the college level, I knew that football became a business. These guys that went on the college scene, they made football a business. So I said, wait a minute, football is not fun anymore because these guys are going to tear my head off. These guys came shooting for blood because every football practice, we had pro scouts looking at our football practice. So because historical black colleges had pro scouts and historical black schools, because that's the number one source of where they got their outstanding football players from, historical black schools. So we were number one on the list. Historical black schools is where they went to get their pro football players at. So I said, hey, look, this is not fun anymore. Plus the fact that you had to put a lot of hours in for practice. You had to be perfectionist, and that made your grades suffer. So I said, I can't keep my grades up and play football at the same time. So I had to and I knew that I wanted to be in ROTC, so I had to give up football to keep my grades up, and that's what I did. So in my sophomore year, I stopped playing football and paid more attention to my academics. So, and long story short, I got my commission as a regular Army officer. As a regular Army officer, my commission was the same commission as there are two kinds of officers. There is a regular Army, and there's just commission officer. I was regular Army. That's the cream of the crop of the Army Officer Corps. That's the same as if I went to a academy like West Point or Air Force Academy. So you were in the upper crust of the officers. So my grade point average was up there, so I got regular Army. When I received my commission, that was a moment that I'll never forget. During the pinning ceremony, that's when your family get there and you pin your bars on. And you became a lieutenant in the United States Army. During that day, I became Second Lieutenant Sylvester Hampton in the United States Army as a military police officer. My father pinned my bars on. And he was dressed in his Air Force uniform, Technical Sergeant Peter Hampton, pinned the lieutenant bars on his son. And I saw the proud moment in his life. For the first time, well, the second time. The first time he saw his son graduated from high school. The second time that he was proud, and I saw that he pinned the bars of an officer of the United States Army on his son. His son became an officer in the United States Army. That was a proud moment for me because I made my father proud, and that was an achieving moment for me. And the next time, it's always, you never forget, never, every lieutenant, once you get to be the rank of a lieutenant, you always remember the first person that gives you a salute. Always. And the first person that saluted me was my daddy. My father. He was my first salute. And that was a proud moment for me. It was a proud moment for him. I will never forget. Every child, every boy wants to have his father proud of him. And he was very proud of me at that time. So, I want you to know that was a proud moment for me that my father gave me his salute as he saluted his son, Second Lieutenant Sylvester Hampton, United States Army military police officer, taking a salute from the Technical Sergeant Peter Hampton, his father. That was a proud moment in our family. And I was proud to receive a salute from my father because he always said, it ain't good enough for you to go into the military. You can go into the military, but you got to be an officer. And I achieved that time at that particular time. And everything that he did at that particular moment, he raised me to be at that particular time. And that was his graduation day. And that was his proud moment, that he raised a son to be an officer. His firstborn. And I saw the proudness in his eyes. Every son wants his father to be proud of him. That is on the same level as when you get to the pearly gates and God says, "Come on in, my faithful servant." That's the same level. The next moment that I can remember that my father being proud or of me, and I want my father's proud, was when I gave him his first VCR machine. It was a Panasonic VCR machine when they first came out, and he was retired. After he got out of the military, retired. He moved to Orangeburg, South Carolina. He had working after he got out of the military, working. He was a hard worker, and my father was one of those kind of guys that that he worked hard, but he likes to relax and everything. And he was a movie buff. He loved movies. He that was his thing. And this was before HBO and all these movie channels and everything. We didn't have all that. This is when the Blockbuster videos and everything was coming out, Blockbuster stores all over the place. And I gave my father his first VCR machine. And I showed him how to use it. And it was a Panasonic, one of those heavy machines. It was heavy as I don't know what. It took about 2-3 minutes to pick it up. And I set it up on his TV set. What was his TV was a Curtis Mathis TV floor model. And Curtis Mathis says, we are the most expensive TV in America and damn well worth it. That was their motto. And I set that thing on top of that Curtis Mathis TV. That was another pride and joy because he got a Curtis Mathis TV, and he put that VCR on top of that TV, and I hooked it up for him, and I put one of those VCR tapes in there and showed him how to do it, and he was pride and joy, and the world, a whole new world opened up, and he was so proud of that TV and his VCR. He was in hog heaven looking at all the movies, and he became a member of Blockbuster Video, and that's all he was in heaven when he was looking at his movies. And he would get his tapes and everything every weekend. You know what my daddy was, looking at his VCR machine and everything. And I was so proud to give him his first VCR machine. And that was another proud moment that I had with my daddy, because I gave him something that he loved. And every child wants to please their daddy. And I pleased my daddy, and I gave him a VCR machine, and I'll never forget his face, and that was a proud moment to me, that I've showing him how much I loved him, and showing him how much he means to me, and what he meant to me. And I gave him the VCR machine. The second time that I remember doing something for him was when I gave him the keys to I bought a used Cougar, a used Cougar car, and my father's a mechanic, so if you give him anything, he can fix it up, and I knew that he had he was a mechanic at heart, and he could take a car apart and put it back together again. That was that was right up his alley. So I had bought a Cougar from a neighbor of mine, and because I was a student, and I was married at the time, and I lived in the married students' apartments, and my next door neighbor was getting rid of a Cougar. And he didn't need it, so I got it from him. I bought it, and I gave it to my father. And my father said, "What's this?" I gave it to him, the keys, and he was saying, "You gave this to me?" And so the look of amazement in his eyes that I gave him a car was really pleasing to me, because I gave my father something. And he gave, and every child wants to shower their daddy with gifts that to show that how much he loved him, how much he means something to them. Every child wants to do that, because the father means so much. And so I gave him the car. And he was so pleased with that car. He bragged about it. He fixed that car up and everything, and he let my brother use the car, and my brother wrecked it. and so but neither here nor there. And I can remember the next time that I gave my father something that came from my heart that I knew that he really needed. My father was a proud man. My father, one thing about parents, good parents are people that they keep their children from the knowledge that they're poor. You don't know how much of a struggle your parents are going through because they keep that from you. The only thing the child have to worry about is nothing. The child don't have to worry about putting food on the table, don't have to worry about the clothes on their back or anything like that, because the parents keep that stuff from them. They keep the struggle away from the child. You don't realize how much of a struggle it is to raise you as children. Parents keep that from you. Those are good parents. And the number one person that the architect that keeping that from you is the father, because he's the head of the household. We don't give him the credit that's credit's due. Daddy runs the house and he keeps the struggle away from you because all the struggle and all the pressure's on his back. Not mama. Mama is on his back too. She's his helper. But the pressure is on daddy. He don't get the credit. The pressure is on daddy. And only when the boy grows up to have his own family that he can really appreciate what daddy did. But if daddy has made him the way he wants to make him better than him, then he realized how much blessed he is to have a father like he had. That's when you appreciate it as a father. And you appreciate your daddy because you realize how your daddy and what your daddy did for you. Okay? When you become a father. But as children growing up, you really don't know how poor you really are. Now, when I grew up and got married, I realized that my father, living from paycheck to paycheck, stealing from Peter to pay Paul. And I went in there and helped my father to assist him to make things better by turning the house and introducing him to, I had a helpmate. And my helpmate did her research and everything, and that's what it helped me do. She knew that my mindset was to help my parents out. And so she did her little research to assist me to help my father and my parents to make their lives better and easier. So she assisted me and did the research, and she became an expert on reverse mortgage. So that's what we did for them, and that was the best thing for them. And once I did that eased a whole lot of pain and suffering and headaches from my father. That was the one thing. So that eased a whole lot of things and kept a lot of pressure off of him, because he was going through it every month, wondering how in the world was he going to make ends meet. Because just because he was retired out of the military, that military check didn't make it. It wasn't as much as we thought. And we thought that my father was doing it, but he was suffering and he was struggling too. He made it look easy because he kept the struggle away from the children. That's what parents do. They keep the struggle away from the children. Fathers, struggle, keep the struggle away from the children. Okay, that's what they do. They handle problems. Now, once I assist my father and taking that burden of worrying about mortgage away from him, everything started working easy for him. He had his VCR. He had the not worrying about the bills every month and everything. So, and my helpmeet assists me. The next thing that my father's pride assists me in being able to, back in the day, $1,000 was a lot of money. I was able to put $1,000 in the hands of my father. By this time, I was a police officer in D.C., out of the military. I was able to give my father $1,000 and said, "You better not pay. This is not for bills. This is for you. You better not put anything on bills, and this is strictly for you and for your fun only, your pleasure only. This is for you." And he was amazed that his son gave him $1,000 in his pocket. That was another moment that I was able to make my father proud of me. And every child, every son, want to be able to have those moments where they're able to have their father proud of them. He didn't have to say, at these moments, he didn't have to say, "Son, I'm proud of you." Just the mere fact, his look and his actions spoke it. He didn't have to say that. You knew. That is what you feel. And I know when we get to that judgment day, when God says, "Come on in, my faithful servant," that's the moment that we work towards. That's how important a father's love and a father's pride is. That's what we work for. Remember, a father always want you to be better than him. A father always want you to be better than him. It wasn't good enough for me to go into the military. Father says, yeah, you want to go into the military, but you ain't going to go in there as an NCO. You're going to go in there as an officer. And that's what I did. He instilled that in me. The next thing he instilled in me was that he said, "I want you to take care of your mama." He made me promise to take care of my mama. He didn't have to promise. He didn't have to make me promise. All he had to do was say, "I want you to take care of your mama." That was it. He didn't have to say, "When I die, to take care of your mama." He didn't have to say that. I knew what he meant. He said, "You take care of your mama." I said, "Okay, sir." And when he started saying stuff like that, And he says, he started giving me his will verbally towards the end. And he would give me his will verbally, his desires verbally. Take care of your mama. Yes, sir. You hear me, boy? Yes, sir. I heard you. So when he passed, I knew exactly what to do. That is what Elimelech did with his wife when you go into the book of Ruth. The book of Ruth is all about her husband taking care of his wife from the grave. That's what that was all about. It had absolutely nothing to do with a daughter-in-law following a mama-in-law, and your God is my God, and your people my people. It has absolutely nothing to do with that. It had everything to do with her husband taking care of her from the grave and her taking her butt back home. It had everything to do with that. Y'all missed the boat. You missed the memo. You misread the book. Everything to do with what the husband did. He took care of her out past his lifetime. That's what the story was all about. You missed the memo. That's what it was all about. Just as my father took care of his wife after the grave through his son, my mama didn't have to worry about anything because my daddy told me to take care of my mama. That's what the story was all about. And I did. She didn't have to worry about nothing. Nothing. That's what the story was all about. Not what she did, it's what my daddy did. It's what my daddy did. So, I don't know, ask your daddy. I don't know, ask my daddy means a hell of a lot. Takes on a whole new different meaning. He's the only man that wants you to be better than him. A son will always worship the father and always work for the father, the pride of the father. Always. Always look for work for the pride of his father. That's what this whole key is all about. I was listening to Steve Harvey on a talk show one time, and he was talking about his adventures of going to when he first started out, and he was talking about how he was I think he was in Florida, and he living in his car, he was homeless at the time. And he was saying that he was at his wit's end, and he was destitute, homeless, and everything. And he had left his phone on he had got permission from his daddy to leave, to be able to keep a phone line open at his daddy's and mama's house, and he had a answer machine at his mom and daddy's house with a phone number. His phone number was so when people would call there, they would get an answering machine, and he can retrieve his answering machine, his messages from wherever he was. So, So he was in Florida. He had called his answer machine, and the answer machine, the answer machine, he had a message from a person in New York saying that this is Showtime at the Apollo. We saw your tape. We'd love for you to come to Showtime at the Apollo. And at the time, he was all the way in Florida. He only had like $35 to his name, empty gas tank because he's living in his car. He didn't know where he was going to get to New York to get Showtime at the Apollo, and he was on the verge of a breakthrough, and so no. Before he got the call, he was about to go home. He was about to give up. He was about to go to his daddy and say, "Hey, look, Dad, can I come home and live with you for about a month or so, and until I get on my feet because I'm living in my house, my car." And just before he was getting ready to call his dad, that's when he checked his answer machine and he got the first call stating that we want you to come to Showtime at the Apollo in New York, and that gave him rejuvenation. So he had $35 in his name in Florida, and he didn't know how the heck that he was going to get to New York, and he had like a weekend to get up there. So he was plotting to get up there, and he had called, and he was trying to get up there. He had stole some gas to get up to New York and he had called again just as he was about to ask his verify that the guy said Monday. There was a second call that he verified that it was Monday. Yes, it's Monday. He said, I don't know how in the world I'm going to do it. A guy from Florida called. He was in Florida. A guy from Florida called. He says that, hey, look, could you come here and we have a competition, talent show. I got $50 for you. You do this thing for me. I pay $50 for you to come and grace your presence with space to come to the club. He made $50, so he had $50 for there. He said, you killed the show. Could you do it the next night? So he did it the next night. So he had $100. So when he did the $100, he said that when he called the first time to the house, he called again, and the guy did say, yes, it is Monday that we want you at Apollo. So he made a second call. He called again, and that's when the guy from Florida called and said, we want you to come to Florida. He was already in Florida, so that's when he got that second call. He was about to give up, but the desires of his father kept him going on, and the desire of not disappointing his father, kept him digging. That's what this whole thing's about. He made the second call. The second call gave him the opportunity to come on that club in Florida. And he made $100, giving him enough money to go to New York to do that show in New York. And then when he did the Apollo show in New York, he killed it. And from that point on, TV history. My point is that the desire of not disappointing his father kept him from calling his daddy, asking his daddy, can I come stay with you? That's what this whole thing is about. The disappointment of the daddy. That is what kept him digging again. Not the mama. because the mama was the desire of giving up. The son's disappointment to the father kept him digging. The father never gets the credit that he's due. It's the disappointment to the father that keeps the son digging. Because how in the world am I going to come see my father, face my father face to face in a disappointment? That's what's going to happen. That's what keeps you digging. That's what is keeping you digging. How can I face my father and look at him in the eyes in the sign of disappointment? That's what keeps you digging. The father. The father. Not disappointing the daddy. Not the mama. Because the mama will say, "Come, boy, come on." She's going to give you a reason to give up. Because she wants you to come to her and to be dependent on her. She will always give you an excuse to give up. A mother would. A woman will always give you an excuse to give up. Always. She will always keep you weak. Because she wants you dependent on her. A man won't. And just the mere thought that you have to face that man in weakness will keep you digging. Will keep you digging. That extra day, stay out here one more day because I can't stand to see to face my daddy. Keep you digging. Because a father will always want you to be better than him. Just as my father says, "Oh, you can go into the military, but you're going to be an officer." Always. What would your father say? I don't know. Ask your daddy takes on a whole new different meaning. I walk up to a girl and say, "You got a bunch of tattoos. What'd your daddy say when you told him that you wanted to get some tattoos?" I'm grown. I didn't ask my daddy. "Are you married?" "No." "Oh." "Young girl, you got some tattoos. You got that tattoo on your neck. On your neck. Are you married?" "No." "Oh." Or I'll walk up and say, "Young lady, what'd your daddy say about them tattoos on your neck?" I didn't have to ask my daddy about them tattoos on my neck. What'd your daddy say about before you got the tattoos on your neck, about them tattoos? I didn't have to ask my daddy nothing. I just got it. "Oh. Are you married?" "No." "Oh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm." When you come from under the protection of your father, a father, for one thing, is not going to allow his daughters to get the tattoos in the first place. Because he's going to tell his daughter that women, young ladies, don't get tattoos. Because tattoos are turn off to boys. They are a number one turn off to boys. How the heck am I going to take you out in a gown and you got tattoos on it like Popeye the Sailor Man? Tattoos are masculine. They're not sexy. The only boy that will think that tattoos are sexy are a boy that was raised by his mama and looking for a mama to be masculine. Period. A 20-cent man. A real man, masculine man, raised by his daddy, ain't gonna be turned on by no tattoos. They're gonna say next. They won't even entertain you. They'll turn off. Tattoos mean masculine and turn off. Different color hair is a red flag for boys. Come on. And daddies are gonna tell daughters that. Daddies are going to tell daughters that. And daddies are going to protect daughters from going out here having fun. Running around, having fun, experimenting with all these different boys. Daddies are not going to allow that. Mamas will. Girl, go ahead and get your education. Go ahead and go to college. And while you're in college, have yourself a good old time. Which means screw everybody you can. Or you want to. And think about marriage later on. That's what mamas are saying. Mamas keep you single. Daddies are saying, oh hell no. Before you go out with somebody, you better bring them to me. And you know better. You gotta ask my daddy before I go out with you. No, that's all right. I ain't taking your butt out. No, if I got to go through your daddy, no, that's all right. I ain't taking you out. I seen your daddy. I know how your daddy is. That's okay. You got brother? Oh no, I know who your brother is. No, that's all right. Cut that crap. That's protection. That's protection. But a mother, there's no threat. Oh, you ain't got no daddy living in the house? Just your mama? Oh, okay. Then there's no threat. I can do anything I want to do with you. Your mama? All I gotta do is show up, and I know your mama's gonna love me. Because your mama is wishing in her back of her mind that she was you. Yeah. Mama's got no standards. None. No threat. No protection. That's not what she does. She ain't trying to raise you to be better than her. She's trying to raise you to be less than her. Amen? But this thing is about fathers and how decent a father is. And do you realize I told you while I'm laying in bed, when I hear my father coming home, how at rest and peaceful I will get knowing that my daddy's home. Because I know that I'm protected. I know that the house is in good hands because my father's is home. That I can come off duty of being the protector because the ultimate protector is home. And do you realize how many children have never, ever experienced that? Never. Do you realize this lesson that I just taught? Do you realize how many children don't even know what the heck I'm talking about? This is foreign to them. And it's all because of the poison that a mother has taught their children against their daddy. Remember, children are a blessing to the father and a curse to the mother minus the Father. Amen. Remember that. I want you to know that it's been a pleasure me being here with you. And this lesson was Daddy's Pride. And I want you to know I love you. Nothing you can do about that. And I want you to know that your father is everything. The first time you ever seen the face of God was when you saw your father. The first time you ever seen the image of God was when you looked in the face of your father. That's how God looked. Amen? Because God made man in his image. That's how important God is. Your father is. Amen. Amen. And your father is one that is looking out for you and always be your protector and always be your guide. And he is the ultimate trainer. Train up your children. He will always train you up. Train you up. Men, you never go down. Never go down. You make them come up to your standards that God has imposed to you, imposed into you through your daddy. Amen. Your father's standards have been imposed into you, and he wants to elevate you up better than him. Always. He's always going to make you better than him. Thank God for daddies. Thank God. To God be the glory that he made man, Adam, mankind, in his image. And his image is your daddy. The first man you ever saw. Your father is the image of God. Because he wants you to be better than him. Amen. I love you. Nothing you can do about that. Until the next time, this is Reverend Sylvester Hampton. One man of God, unfiltered. Bye-bye.